In this video, we're going to go over lambdas. And so what lambdas are these small anonymous functions, which is just a function without a name. And so this is the syntax we're going to use here. We're going to have a variable name. Then we're going to use the lambda keyword, which is a built-in Python keyword. We're going to have another variable here, a colon, and then some sort of expression. And then when we call this, it will run this expression with this variable name. Let's go over a quick example of how this works. So what we'll do here is we'll create something called subtract 5, and this will equal lambda. And what we'll do here is we'll take a number and we'll subtract it by 5. So we'll do lambda, and then a variable name. In this case, we'll use x, but this can be anything. And then we'll do x minus 5. And then we can go ahead and call this by doing print subtract 5, passing in any sort of number. So what we're doing here is we're creating a function and saving it to this variable name subtract 5. So we can call this like we can any other function. When we call it, we're passing in 10. And since this is a lambda function here, what we have is we have a variable name right here. And this is what 10 is passed into. So then we get take this 10, replace it with x, and we get 10 minus 5, and it returns that value whenever we, once it's evaluated. Let's go ahead and try this out. So we'll go ahead and run Python 3, and I call this file tutorial.py, and we'll see you get 5. So we are correctly evaluating this with 10 minus 5 and returning 5. Let's go over another example. And so in this example here, we had one argument passed into our function. Let's go ahead and do one with multiple. And this will work just like any other Python function. So we can do a multi-vars equals lambda, and then we can put all of our arguments separated out by commas, x, y, and z. And then once again, we put a colon, and then we can do whatever else we want here. In this case, we'll return a tuple here, and we'll make a triple, doubling each argument. So we'll do an x times 2, y times 2, and then z times 2. So this should take 3 different variables and return them all within this tuple here, multiplied by 2 each. Let's go ahead and call that. So we'll do print multivars, and then we can pass in all of our arguments here. I'll just do 1, 2, and 3 for this example. Come here and we'll run this again. And we get back 2, 4, and 6 inside this tuple. Okay, perfect. And so that is how you call a lambda with multiple arguments. And so hopefully you can see here how these work pretty similarly to normal Python functions. We could do the same thing here with a regular function by just doing, def multivars, passing in x, y, and z, and then doing return x times 2, y times 2, and z times 2. And then we can go ahead and run this here, and we should get the same result. We still get 2, 4, and 6. So this is just a more concise way of writing it all in one line instead of having to break it up into multiple lines like we did with a traditional function. Now you may be wondering how this is useful. And one of the bigger use cases of this is to create a more generic function that returns a lambda that allows us to create another function that's more specific, I guess. Let's go ahead and go over that example right now and see how that works. So I'm going to create a normal function first without using a lambda, add number. And we'll give it a variable name of num, I guess, which should work here. And what we're going to do is we're going to return a lambda. And this will be x colon x plus the number. So all this function is doing is it's taking in a variable here, returning a function that takes this number and adds it to another variable argument here. Now we can use this by creating another variable name. And this time, in this case, we'll add 5 to a number. So do add 5. This will equal add number. And we can go and call this function and passing in 5. Now what we're doing here is we're taking this add number function, we're passing in 5 as num, we're returning a lambda where we're taking a variable name and adding 5 to it. So now whatever we call with this function, we'll add 5 to that number. So we can go ahead and print add 5 and pass in another number here. In this case, I'll do 10. And now this should return 15. We save this, come back here, clear this out, and we'll run this again, and we get 15. Now, of course, we could change this to any number we want. We could do 15 plus 5, and that should return 20. And it returns 20. And of course, we can go ahead and create another one of these functions, add 3 equals add number passing in 3. And then down here, instead of printing out this, I'll go ahead and print out add 3, passing in another number here. Let's do 20, and this should return 23. And returns 23. So that's just a way to kind of reuse this function over and over again with different sort of add functions, and just kind of updating it to be whatever it is that we need it to be. Add 5, add 3, or something else. Hopefully that all makes sense with how we can use that that way. And of course, we could do this with just about any other example we wanted to. We could do the same thing with multiply. So we could go ahead and do a def multiply function, passing in a number, and we can return a lambda, and we can do another variable name. In this case, I'll do number, because this variable name can go wherever you want. It could be x, it could be y, it could be anything else. In this case, I'll do number. We'll do number times num. So once again, we're taking a number here, we're multiplying it by another variable named number, and returning that result. Now, if we were to go ahead and do triple, we can go ahead and triple the number by multiply by 3. So we can do multiply and pass in 3. And now we call triple, it will take a number and multiply it by 3. So down here, I can print triple, passing in 5, and we'll get 15 again. You get 15, and of course, this can be anything you want. We do 10, and we can get 30, and it returns 30. And then once again, we can create a double function if we wanted to, equals multiply 2, and then instead of printing triple, we can print double, and now instead of 30, we'll get 20. And there we go. So those are just some quick examples how we can use lambdas, what they are, and some other more useful ways of using them by creating a generic function, and then go ahead and create more specific functions using the lambda that we're returning inside of that function. So hopefully that helped get you started with using lambdas. If you have any questions with how they work, let me know. But that's really it for this video. All the code for this will be in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.